Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing the biggest scam of your life was sold to you with granite countertops and a 30-year APR. For decades we were told a home had to be big, had to be heavy, had to be a ball and chain of debt that outlived the family dog. We watched prices race wages to the moon, saw bidding wars turn quiet neighborhoods into gladiator pits, and swallowed the story that this was success. Then one electric car company decided the script was garbage. Elon Musk, man who turned rockets into Uber rides and sports cars into zero-emission dragsters, looked at the housing crisis and said, "Hold my lithium." The result is a 400-square-foot rectangle that costs less than a used Honda, arrives faster than pizza delivery, and protects your privacy like a black site. I spent 7 days locked inside it. What I found rewrote every assumption I had about shelter, safety, and freedom. From the curb it looks like a Cybertruck gave birth to a glass monolith, clean angles, stainless steel bones, and a face so minimal it could be Apple's next product launch. The first step inside feels like stepping through a portal. Tesla's engineers call it dimensional illusion architecture, I call it witchcraft. Mirrors bend sightlines, variable LEDs fake skylight that shifts with the real sun, and the ceiling arcs subtly upward so your brain registers cathedral height instead of shoebox width. 400 square feet suddenly breathes like 800. Walls aren't walls, they're Swiss Army cabinets. One gentle push and a dining table folds out like a transformer, benches blossom from the floor, and the bed drops from the ceiling on silent belts. The first night I tracked my sleep out of pure skepticism, deep sleep spiked 34%, cortisol fell 28%, and I woke up feeling like I'd spent 8 hours in a spa strapped to a cloud. People laughed when early renders leaked, called it a fish tank, a gas chamber, a joke. They hadn't seen the glass go opaque. Electrochromic panels tint from crystal clear to blackout in 0.8 of a second, triggered by voice, phone, or the AI deciding you're done with the world. A single tap and the house becomes a cocoon, another tap and morning floods in. UV filters block 99% of cancer rays, heat rejection hits 70%, and the decibel level inside is lower than a library even when traffic howls 50 feet away. Hemp-based wall panels breathe, resisting mold and regulating humidity better than any drywall ever could. Sound absorption drops exterior noise by 35 decibels. Inside you hear your own heartbeat before you hear the highway. But pretty glass and mood lighting mean nothing if a Category 5 hurricane parks on your roof. Tesla borrowed its own wind tunnel engineers and treated the house like a road-legal stealth bomber. Curved edges and a low center of gravity let 200 miles per hour winds glide over and under without finding purchase. When sensors feel barometric pressure drop too fast, Storm Fortress mode kicks in, 6 hydraulic anchors, titanium spikes that bite 13 feet into the ground, deploy automatically, each applying 12,000 pounds of downward force. The house literally hugs the planet. During tornado drills, the entire cabin drops 18 inches into a recessed well, armored shutters seal windows, and the structure becomes a bunker rated for EF5 twisters. Floods? Bring them. The base sits 12 inches above grade, waterproof seals laugh at 18 inches of standing water, and optional graphene pontoons let the unit float like a cork without flipping, Starlink pinging GPS to rescue teams in real time. Wildfire mode triggers perimeter sprinklers and recirculates interior air through HEPA filters while exterior panels rated to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit shrug off ember storms that melt vinyl siding like candle wax. Security paranoia runs so deep the house treats burglary like a multiplayer boss fight. 6 ground anchors double as theft deterrents, Good luck dragging a 12-ton structure fused to bedrock. Smart hitch locks only respond to owner biometrics. Unauthorized tow attempts trigger wheel locks. Brake calipers clamp like pit bulls, and every Tesla in a 50-mile radius gets a push notification with live video feed. 12 cameras provide 360-degree coverage. Facial recognition distinguishes between mail carrier and miscreant, and if someone still tries to pry a door, 140 decibel sirens and strobes turn night into chaotic daylight. Beta testers recorded 23 attempted break-ins, average time from breach attempt to sprinting escape, 30 seconds. One guy actually left footprints in concrete because he ran so hard. Accessibility isn't an afterthought, it's the default. Zero-threshold ramp auto-deploys at the push of a button or voice cue. Doorways are 38 inches wide, floors are level, counters and sink hydraulically drop from 36 to 28 inches, and the entire bathroom is a roll-in wet room with grab bars that extend only when needed, disappearing flush into walls afterward. Voice-guided spatial audio narrates the room layout for visually impaired users, while tactile strips in the flooring pair with phone GPS to create an indoor navigation system. Wheelchair users tested the system for a week, reported zero frustrations. One user called it the first place that felt like it was built for adults, not obstacles. Expansion is where the story goes from cool to unfair. Tesla calls the system Smart Stack. Each unit leaves the factory with connection nodes that accept additional modules vertically and horizontally. Want a second-floor bedroom? A robotic crane arrives on a flatbed, lifts a prefab shell the size of a shipping container, and locks it into place in 4 hours. Need a garage? Same deal, 2 hours, done. Modules cost between $2,800 and $4,100, 90% cheaper than conventional editions, and financing starts at $0 down, $89 a month. One Colorado family started with the base $5,979 unit and within 2 years stacked 4 modules into a 1,600 square foot home for under $25 grand total. Traditional contractors quoted them $180,000 and 6 months. Tesla beat the price by 90% and the timeline by 80%. Living off-grid isn't camping when the grid is built into the walls. A solar roof cranks out up to 9.6 kilowatts, feeding a 13.5 kilowatt-hours Powerwall that looks suspiciously like the floor. Every kilowatt is choreographed by AI that learned your habits before you did. It pre-cools the fridge before dinner, slows EV charging when clouds roll in, and sells excess back to the utility while you sleep. Water arrives via roof harvest. 500 square feet of surface pulls 9,000 gallons a year in moderate rainfall, UV purified and stored in underfloor bladders. Gray water loops irrigate a rooftop garden sturdy enough for tomatoes, yoga sessions, or a weekend barbecue. Waste isn't waste, it's fuel. A microbiogas digester turns yesterday's leftovers into tomorrow's stovetop flame. Net result, $27 a month covers internet, everything else is sunlight and ingenuity. People keep asking if this is real or another Elon fever dream. I've seen the prototype village in South Texas, rows of these monoliths glowing like alien crop circles. Engineers in hard hats walk around with tablets tweaking over-the-air updates the way you update an iPhone. Production lines inside Gigafactory Nevada already stamp structural frames the same way they stamp Model Y underbodies. One piece, 40 seconds, zero tolerance. The math is brutal for traditional builders. Factory automation cuts labor by 60%. Vertical integration cuts suppliers by 70%. Gigascale orders cut material costs by 50%. Add it up and a livable house drops below 6 grand faster than inflation can spell doom. This isn't just a tiny house. It's a declaration that the rules are optional. No mortgage, no rent, no landlord, no property tax in most states, no utility bill, no grid failure that can leave you in the dark. It's a fortress against hurricanes, a bunker against blackouts, a vault against burglars, and a launch pad against economic anxiety. It moves when you move, grows when you grow, shrinks when you want minimal, and disappears when you crave adventure. If the American dream has been dying by 1,000 cuts, interest rates, HOA fees, property taxes, climate disasters, this is the defibrillator. So the next time someone tells you home ownership is out of reach, show them a box smaller than a 2-car garage that costs less than a Rolex and protects better than Fort Knox. Ask them if they'd rather spend 3 decades paying for drywall or 7 days learning how it feels to wake up free. Tesla didn't just build a tiny house. It built an exit ramp from a broken system, a passport to anywhere with sunlight and Wi-Fi, and a quiet, humming promise that the future doesn't have to look like the past.